Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT news and drama all across the board right now. Wardell with some leaked DMs to Stewie2K claiming that many North American VALORANT players are brain dead in their decision making, but many North American pros actually defending Wardell for these comments that we shall see. And also Sentinels confirming a boot camp ahead of the last chance qualifier. Very much tweeting your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. We'll hit 20k today if you guys want to make that one happen. Now firstly, I've got a bit of a job advertisement here, a special request to those of you potentially interested in making VALORANT content. If you're not, there's a timestamp down below to move on to the topics. But well, if you guys know kind of what I did firstly as the main channel, I've done this stuff for a couple of years now in the Call of Duty side on a channel just called TacticalRab, and I've started doing VALORANT. Now I'm also a co-founder and the content lead for a company called Breaking Point, and well, we've been making content like this in the Call of Duty side, and we're looking to do the same thing in VALORANT. This is a summary of the most successful videos on this channel. It's documentary style, it's compilation style, looking at, biggest cheating scandals, most intense 1 versus 1s, best clutches of all time, this type of stuff. We're looking to do the same thing on a brand new VALORANT channel, and we're looking for someone to help us out doing this in a paid position. So you guys might want to check out this channel and see effectively we're trying to do exactly this type of stuff in the VALORANT side as well. If you're interested in doing this, or if you know someone who might be interested in doing this, feel free to go ahead and make some sort of compilation video. Put together like a best pro jet plays in VCT matches, or best chamber plays in VCT matches, or best 1v1 clutches, or from Masters Reykjavik, something along those lines. We can handle the thumbnailing, we can handle the content side of things, the titling. We just want to get someone in our team who can do this, but on the VALORANT side. If you are interested, and once you put something together, send me a link over to, my personal Twitter at TacticalRab. You can just DM me over there. I'll get to it over the coming couple of weeks or so, and then, as I say, there's a paid position on offer here on that new channel. So yeah, that's it for kind of that advertisement thing of the video. Hopefully that was interesting to some of you guys, and let's just crack straight on with things then. So firstly, here we go. T1 say the following: there's more drama really around the kind of partnership situation for next season. T1 have said they're officially applying for partnership, as have, interesting enough, version 1, as frankly expected. Version 1 honestly would be one of the organizations I would think would be on the cusp of getting it. I think in an ideal world they should get partnership for next season, but just that maybe the recent lack of success, as to say, of their team might hold them back to some degree. But as an organization, they have done a lot of great things, not just in VALORANT, but also in other esports as well. Now apparently this actually was confirmed by George Geddes to only be, across all regions, but apparently over 150 proposals have been received by Riot to join the partnered league. That's I'm pretty sure across all the regions, so there's 30 spots on offer, and apparently 150 plus proposals have been submitted to Riot Games. So yes, they've got the work ahead of them the next couple of months or so to filter through those and decide who they want to give the spots to. This also from George Geddes, because he was certainly in the drama yesterday. We'll talk about this Wardell stuff, talking about the ticketing and crowd information for VCT Copenhagen, saying that apparently the original plan was to have a partial crowd and more information on this front to come soon. So hopefully we will have a crowd. It'd be very frustrating if we don't indeed. Now firstly, before we talk about the Wardell stuff, important update from the NRG side, VALORANT update as they described. Unfortunately, the team has had a potential exposure earlier this week. No one has tested positive as of now, but we're still closely monitoring the situation. So as a result, we've chosen to take extra precaution and send everyone home from our boot camp, right? So that's pretty interesting, right? Playing at their upcoming VCT matches, the big one against FaZe this weekend, from their respective homes, not at their boot camp, which is certainly not ideal at all for them. It's maybe the best thing to do just to make sure that no one gets unwell if they can avoid it, right? And therefore they might not be able to play their match at full capacity in theory. But yeah, still, definitely given the fact that no one tested positive, is a bit of a risk to do this anyway, because you are putting yourself potentially at a disadvantage. But at the same time, it might be a risk worth taking effectively to make sure that a team can at least play with 100% of their full roster, I suppose, going into that massive matchup this weekend. And as Ethan says, unfortunate turn of events. I feel like our bootcamp was successful though. Time to put what we learned into action for future matches. And yeah, appreciate NRG for making it possible, and to complexity for the facility as well. So yes, NRG, they've been looking at very good at lately, of course, at the playoffs themselves. Whether they can beat FaZe, that is going to be another question entirely. Let's dive into this Wardell stuff then. So really this was kind of kicked off by George Geddes yesterday, and he tweets out the fact that he was pretty frustrated, pretty offended it seems, the fact that Wardell was calling a lot of VALORANT pros brain dead effectively, and kind of saying this, TSM got better when they dropped you. Now this was the comment from him. As you can actually see, this is the full image right here of he's on stream talking to Stewie2K, and this is kind of on the big screen exactly what was being said. So he's talking to Stewie. Now effectively Stewie2K, we kind of know he wants to come to VALORANT. That seems a reasonable possibility of what he's trying to do. Whether we can actually make that happen on a good team is to me pretty doubtful, but as he says, you will lose your mind. I think going streamer is good. This is Wardell speaking to Stewie2K. I think if you were to try and go pro, you would need a solid team because everyone is brain dead. I don't even think you need skill in this game, that being VALORANT. You just need to be able to think. I can't believe EG Val took a map off of NRG, for example. And as Stewie says, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like in Valorant, since it takes no skill, it's hard to have the consistency. And as Wardell says, that's not it. People don't play properly. That's why it looks inconsistent. I swear OpTic is the only team that plays this game like Counter-Strike and probably Exit as well, even though I don't even think Exit is that good. So saying that a lot of the players in the North American Valorant scene are completely brain dead, the game takes no skill, the players hardly even try, and that's why you see inconsistent results, right? So that's kind of what Wardell had to say. Now, like, I think worse stuff than this has been said in chats and stuff like that in the past, but of course, like, people are going to see this, players are going to see this, and of course have their response to the matter. Like as Elsa says, he's a 10, but calls everyone brain dead. Thought it was rather interesting, right? As Vanity says, why is Wardell saying everyone is bad? So controversial, we all suck at this game when comparing ourselves to players like himself, right? So Vanity's clapping back effectively and saying, you know, Wardell, like a not even that special of a player. I'm guessing he's being sarcastic in this one, right? Saying, okay, look, TSN, they had Wardell, they decided to part ways with him, probably got better after getting rid of him, but Wardell isn't so convinced that that's the case. We'll see that here in a second. Now, even Exalt says, right, on the Knight side, that actually Wardell's speaking straight facts. A lot of players actually agreed with Wardell in this situation, right? Saying that Valorant's significantly easier than CS. Like, some controller player with 0 aim assist used a judge only and made Radiant. Proof is in the pudding, right? There's so many gimmicks that reduce the skill ceiling, says Exalt, which is obviously, like, people are going to have their perspective on this, whether that's true or whether kind of, the additional gimmicks you could argue in Valorant actually make things, increase the skill gap in terms of how you can use those abilities. But as Nismo says from Ghost, Wardell was not the issue with TSM. He's the kind of opper you don't want to be facing up against in a match. So Nismo's defending Wardell. Like, a lot of pros actually came out to defend Wardell here, right? And of course, George Geddes was kind of following up on this opinion, kind of effectively was the one that raised this to the public eye and kicked this drama off in the first place. And as Nuki says, if you're going pro and you care about opinions, go hang up the idea of going pro, right? A lot of pros actually, like, the only people in a way that didn't seem to be offended by this were the pro players themselves, right? The people who were offended by it were not the pro players, it seemed. And they were like, okay, yeah, it's just a pro having their opinion. I'm just going to move on with my day effectively. Now, Wardell comes back in the replies here, right? And says, you know, he was laughing at this one. Bro, I say people are on pro teams that shouldn't be in pro when I'm a free agent, word for word. Congrats, TSM beat the same teams that I did when I was on the team. At least they made the VCT, right? Copium. That's my take on experience when playing the game. I don't think that's fake, you know, rolling on the floor, laughing effectively. So he's saying, like, okay, I don't take back anything I said, completely double down effectively on his position and saying, well, TSM didn't get any better without me, which is, of course, a little bit questionable, right? But still, it's rather interesting that V1 says, because, of course, he was subbing in for them rather recently and says, okay, like, with Wardell and the team, they were 1 round away from the VCT, and then, like, without him, when they had their main man come back into the squad, then they lost to Goal Kissers, right? And, of course, it would be called Braindead, I suppose, in Wardell's estimation. And then he goes on to say, talking about George Geddes here, I'm pretty sure, big reach, man's content was getting dry, has to do something weird as hell. What a bum. Nothing I said in that convo I haven't said on stream. What are you talking about? Why do we have a problem now, right? Saying that effectively all this stuff that I said in the conversation, it's just my opinion, right? I've said it on stream before. I do think that a lot of players, a lot of teams outside of OpTic have really no idea what they're playing at. And then he finishes it off with this. Honestly, this man is going to double down and leave that tweet up looking like a fool instead of a hero. We can all ask pro players and see if they feel the same way. Then you could send your apology my way. So pretty spicy stuff, it must be said. Like Wardell coming up with these statements that a lot of these NA pros are brain dead, but then a lot of pros actually saying that, well, yeah, maybe he's got a point, right? Maybe Valorant doesn't have the highest skill gap in the world, and maybe it's true that a lot of these North American pros don't put in the time or like don't play the game like OpTic do, playing it, like Counter-Strike, for example, and maybe that's where they're lacking some of the success. I thought it was kind of spicy stuff, and even as Walker says, right, effectively, people are just too soft. No one would have survived these old phase scrim lobbies if this is how soft you guys are, and saying that, okay, a lot of the time actually it's behind the scenes in the scrim chats and practice chats where a lot of the spicy stuff comes through, even more so than what Wardell said, saying that effectively this is pretty tame, all things considered, for what North American pros having to say. So intrigued to your thoughts on this one. Does Wardell have a point? I can't say I fully agree with this comment at all on this issue, apart from the idea that OpTic definitely played the best Valorant out of the North American scene. But Zekin says 90% of the North American pros start hyperventilating when they think they can get an eco frag. It's like, maybe Wardell's got a point on this one, right? And even as he says, those chat logs are nothing. People are just getting heated over no reason at all. So pro players generally seem to have this opinion. But even as Leaf says, with all this Wardell drama, all I can think of is how my opinion is reinforced, where I said everyone sucks but OpTic. I'm glad everyone agrees on this issue, says Leaf on that side of things. So spicy stuff. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below, of course. The other big news of the day was this from Sentinels, confirming that a new Sentinels Valorant Bootcamp will be starting up next month, as even Kaide says in the replies that they will be away from each other, TenZ and Kaide, for 1.5 months. I know you'll take good care of him, right? So apparently, through that entire period, effectively from July through to August, where the LCQ is, they're going to be bootcamping, right? I'll show a quick clip from ShahZaM here, where he effectively says, like, look, they've been looking to make this happen for quite some time. It's not a new phenomenon. They want to do a bootcamp, but it's finally coming to fruition here. And ahead of the LCQ, they believe this is going to help them get to new levels.
Oh, I know that. No, that's sick. No, that's sick. Whatever, guys. What the hell? Bootcamp Reddit is finally happy. Yeah, Sentinels tweeted we're bootcamping, and all the Reddit's like high-fiving each other. Everyone's patting each other's backs. They're jacking each other off. They're all excited. They're like, we did it, Reddit. We did it. All the bullying, the hate, the death threats. No, mother. We were trying to bootcamp during stage 2. But we couldn't because a lot of things happened. You did not do it, man. The whole plan was to bootcamp originally. Guys, I've been on a bootcamp for 2 years. I moved to Austin for Valorant, bruh. That's how you gotta...
Probably indicating, of course, that if they are doing a bootcamp, that a team is going to stay exactly as it is, which, of course, I suppose makes sense given the situation. But, I mean, look, we'll see. If they do this bootcamp and all this type of stuff and they turn up to the LTQ and flop out, it's going to be pretty frustrating. But good on them actually doing it, right, and taking the time, because we've heard a lot of talk, really, about Sentinels the last few months or so. Why haven't they done a bootcamp? Why haven't they got a coach sooner? Okay, but they've still managed to somehow make it to the LTQ anyway, so they've got to maximize on their possibility. And shout out to Willminder for another very interesting bit of statistical analysis right here. How reliant are these final 4 NA teams on their chamber? So this is when when their chamber player dies first, what happens in the rest of the rounds. OpTic only loses an exit in a similar boat, only loses about 65% of rounds where their chamber player dies first. But when FaZe loses their chamber player, that being Dicey, they lose 87.5% of rounds. Kind of incredible, actually. If chamber goes down first, if Dicey goes down first on FaZe, they're basically losing the rounds, as are NRG with Tex. But these other teams are slightly better prepared when chamber goes down. As he says here in the replies, actually, whenever you go down 4 versus 5, usually the win percentage there is only about 25-30%, and they're doing better than those numbers, and it's actually when their chamber goes down as well. So intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video, I just like you should see it as well, and I hope you grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.